This was the game that changed Lara Croft forever, breaking away from the arguably cheesier games of the late 90s and early 2000s to set Lara in a darker, more serious universe. And recently Nintendo surprised us with a sudden release of this game on NS2. So even though I'm sure many of you have already played this on one system or another, let's explore what Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix decided should be Lara Croft's origin story. This is Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, aka Tomb Raider 2013, for the Nintendo Switch 2. In this epic Tomb Raider prequel, you play as young archaeology student Lara Croft who joins an expedition to explore a mythical island off the coast of Japan. But a nasty storm leaves her shipwrecked on the island that also happens to be populated by a violent cult. It's a story that brilliantly mixes the intriguing mystery of the island's myth with seeing Lara be forced to develop strong survival instincts that would make her a force to be reckoned with in the future. And with all the story, twists, and turns, and Lara's growth as a character over the course of the game, it's no wonder another Tomb Raider movie was made based on this reboot. Now, before playing this on the NS2, I did already play this game from start to finish on my Mac years ago, and after seeing that this game was also released on the Switch 1, I watched some gameplay footage of that while playing the NS2 version I bought to see how the two compared. Now, the Mac version I played had the same graphical quality as the enhanced PS4 version, which by the way plays and looks better on the modern Apple Silicone Macs. The Switch 1 version is basically the PS3 version. The graphics do look really good, but on the NS2 they look better. The NS2 version's quality is somewhere between the PS4 and PS5 versions, with textures looking much cleaner here than on the Switch 1. Plus the NS2 version solidly maintains a smooth 60 frames per second compared to the Switch 1's 30 frames per second, even though both versions seem to avoid any noticeable lag or frame rate drops. But both versions do a good job of presenting this game with its more realistic art style, with very well balanced lighting, detailed particle effects, and great work on the animations that earned this game's visuals such high praise when it originally came out. So even though I prefer the NS2 version for its superior visuals and performance, the Switch 1 version is perfectly playable if you've avoided buying yourself an NS2 up to this point. Regardless of which version you get though, you'll still be treated to a fantastic assortment of audio. The music is very well composed for a movie-like score, and the sound effects intensify the action of this grittier game. The voice acting is really well performed too from across the board, with all the actors getting into their performances to sell this new version of the Tomb Raider world.
Sacrifice is a choice you make. Loss is a choice made for you.
I can't choose to let him die, Roth.
And this new version was a big deal in 2013 because it took the franchise in a different direction, yet it never forgets the series' roots. It's more grounded and serious, but at the same time it's not trying to be super realistic. It still has large mythological fantasy elements and a plot of evil men for Lara to fight. Arguably these men are even more psychotic than Lara's usual foes. Instead of jumping around firing dual pistols, you're meant to duck behind cover and fire with your bow and arrows and 3 different types of guns that you find throughout the journey. Even with this more 2010 standard form of third-person combat, it's still a lot of tense fun to fight these guys. Aiming is solid with adjustable sensitivity, and the enemies are really aggressive for a tough challenge. They attack you with machetes, they're pretty accurate shots with guns and arrows of their own, and some will throw explosives to flush you out. Thankfully, there's a way to make combat easier as you progress. You could salvage crates, enemies, and animals for parts used to upgrade your weapons at campsites, eventually turning an old World War II era SMG into a homemade AK-47 with a grenade launcher attached. You also use experience points at these sites to unlock more abilities for Lara to make her stronger. Some of these abilities surround melee moves, like stabbing enemies in the legs with an arrow after a successful dodge, or finishing them off with your climbing axe in their skulls. It's way more brutal than Tomb Raider fans are used to, especially when this game originally came out, but it's so undeniably badass.
You're fired.
Lara can even stealth kill enemies with a bow, then later her climbing axe. Just more examples of how this game really leans into the survival aspect in a way never seen before in older Tomb Raider games. In fact, this all feels like an incentive to find salvage parts and build up XP. Part of the intensity is the scripted events of Lara being thrown around a raging river or burning building having to make sudden moves to survive, which is where some QuickTime events are unfortunately used. But for the most part, QuickTime events are more seamlessly woven into the combat, and in one way the climbing sections, so at least they're more tolerable than games from just a couple of years prior. Like any good Tomb Raider game, there's still a lot of climbing and exploration as a main component, but your axe helps you climb certain walls. That's its official use. It wasn't meant to skewer cultists in the head, but when you gotta survive. A lot of the game's challenge outside of combat is getting around and solving puzzles that involve climbing. Most of that can be found in optional tombs to discover and raid. Each tomb has some kind of puzzle to solve to reach an artifact that rewards you with a big chunk of XP. So while tomb raiding is less of a priority than combat this time, the difficult combat gives you a reason to seek out these tombs for the XP to unlock effective ways of killing the bad guys. Not to mention they serve as nice breaks from all the violence. Nintendo fans will also be happy to know that this NS2 Definitive Edition comes with all previously released DLC such as alternate outfits. Online multiplayer is also included with all the maps and modes of previous versions, and one game lobby can hold up to 8 players. There are 4 modes you can play, with one being free-for-all, and the other 3 being team-based modes. There's a pretty standard system of progression through XP and leveling up here, and you can customize your loadout. All good stuff. Unfortunately, you need at least 4 people in a lobby to get a match going, and I was only able to find one other person in any lobby found or created. Apparently this is a problem with every version of Tomb Raider 2013 since there's a low player count. Probably because everyone focuses on the single player, and the game is 12 years old on other platforms. The most I was able to do was get a private match going. You can make private matches in all 4 modes, but the only ones that you can play solo to get XP from are Rescue and Cry for Help, because there are no bots in multiplayer either. Well, at least I was able to tour the maps, which are based on locations from the game, and see that they are really well made. And there was no lag. I'd be very confused if there was any lag since I was playing by myself. From what I could tell, even if I was able to get a match going, this is the kind of multiplayer that would be fun for maybe 3 or 4 rounds at a time, but has no real longevity. Probably why they just left out any form of competitive multiplayer in the sequels to this game. Since I bought this game on launch day, I got the NS2 version on sale for $16 at the eShop. Its normal price for either version is $20. That's a great price for this game regardless of version, given just how good this game is versus how late Nintendo fans are finally getting it. But my hope is that if enough of us buy this, Aspyr will also bring Rise of the Tomb Raider to the NS2 sometime soon. Well, that's my review of Tomb Raider Definitive Edition for the Nintendo Switch. To help me produce more videos like this, please support my Patreon page. Special thanks to my current patrons here. Remember that supporting my Patreon gets your name in the credits and access to my main videos a day early. Also be sure to watch my previous reviews of Tomb Raider 4 through 6 Remastered for the Switch and Tomb Raider Underworld for the Wii. See you all next time!
I'll figure something out.
We'll be heading your way soon. Out.
Lara Croft, you are my hero!